Isekai is a rough genre. If you're a modern anime fan, you know isekai is everywhere. It is the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the ground we stand upon in the modern anime scene. And for the most part, these anime are known for being low-effort garbage, mainly taking a lot of ideas from popular things like Sword Art Online or Mushoku Tensei to try to build up their characters as super overpowered, bland dudes from Japan who just happen to have a whole bunch of fantasy ladies who are super into them. It's a cookie-cutter formula that just feels entirely played out. Not to say that there aren't good isekai out there. There are plenty that I actually do enjoy, but there are so many isekai coming out every single season that it just, by sheer numbers, you just get a lot of trash. So this week I want to flashback to 2016 and talk about an anime that I really love called Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions. Now this is not an anime that I watched on its release. Back in 2016, I wasn't really focused a lot on anime. I watched a wider range of things. But on TikTok, one of the people I follow over there, Red Triton, who has a YouTube channel, they also cover anime. They were doing a bunch of TikToks on Grimgar and their passion for the light novel series and for the anime that came out. And not knowing anything about the series, I decided to give it a try because it sounded interesting enough. Basically, it follows these group of kids who all are teleported to another world. They wake up inside of a tower outside of a fantasy town. But unlike in other isekai, these characters have no memory of their life before. They have modern clothes on and make references randomly to video games or whittle airplanes, but they don't remember what those things are. They just have them as imprints in their mind. They know it's something they experienced, even if they can't remember anything about it. Basically, they've all woken up and been told, hey, if you want to live in this world, you're gonna have to fight a bunch of monsters, or you can figure out something else, which is gonna be pretty hard to do since you don't have any memories and you don't know anything about this world or how to do you don't have any like actionable skills. So best of luck. You have no family, you have no friends, you have no real other option than to join the volunteer soldiers, which our protagonist Haruhiro does, and he joins up with a group of 5 other adventurers trying to all make their way in this new world that they've all been teleported into. Now, the thing about his group though is that they're all a bunch of misfits. They're the left behinds. All the other stronger people who were in their tower grouped up in their own groups, and these people were left. So these 6 leftovers get together and all choose different guilds and different skills to build up an actual formidable team. Our main character Haruhiro decides to become a thief, Minato the leader becomes a priest, the big and brawn Moguza becomes a warrior, Yume becomes a hunter, the shy Shihoru becomes a mage, and the brash and abrasive Ranta becomes a dread knight. These 6 characters have no experience fighting, hunting, or killing anything before this, and they have no idea what they're doing. They all just have to try to work together and figure out how they're going to live in this world. In the first couple episodes, they're all struggling to take down a single goblin, still awkward and unsure of their movements, not able to really work together as a team. But what's great about Grimgar, and one of the reasons that I actually really enjoy this series, is all these characters slowly figure out how to work as a team, figure out what works best for them and how they can actually go about fighting monsters and winning and building up loot and getting funds to buy more skills and train and get food and better equipment and slowly progress through this world. This is the first time an isekai or a fantasy anime has made me fully understand fantasy groups, like D&D groups, right? I've never played D&D and I don't play a lot of dungeon crawler games. This is the first time I actually looked at and thought, okay, well this is an interesting way that all these group dynamics work and how these different understanding of characters of how each of their skills work and how they work in combination with each other and their roles in the group and how those roles change and grow over time. This is a fascinating show because it takes its time to build up its world and its characters and show them reacting to different situations and how they have to grow and change in those situations, which is the best thing you can really do in these kind of cases because we as the audience get to root for them while they learn more about themselves, learn more about the group around them, and improve their dynamics and take on bigger and stronger monsters over time. It's an incredibly effective way to build yourself into a story, to connect with these characters and latch yourself into them. It's a show that cares deeply about its characters and their interactions in between each other and how important those group dynamics and what you say to each other really matters, and we'll get to that in a moment. But the way that that's really effective and the thing that they really build off with that is that death is also a very real thing. Because, spoiler alert for episode 4, one of the big things that happens that really connects you with this series is Minato, the leader of the group, suddenly dies, killed while they're retreating from some more powerful goblins. And that leaves a massive void in the group. The person who is able to be the negotiator between everyone, be the person who's the mediating everything, suddenly passes away, and you all have to suddenly renegotiate your relationship with each other, with yourselves as a group, understanding the stakes of everything you're doing and understanding that you may not be strong enough, and any moment you could be the one that's dying, while also having to add another priest to their group and understanding how to work with that person, because they add a person named Mary, who is personality-wise entirely different than Minato, and also has a very different view of her role in the group. And so much of the show, while it does have interesting action and fantasy and fights, it also focuses so much on these characters and understanding each other. I need to stress that because it's one of the things that makes this show stand out. It takes its time, and with that, because of that, you're able to connect and feel each of their characters in different, unique ways. Take the relationship between Haruhiro and Ranta, for instance. Ranta is an asshole. There's no easy way to say it. In a lot of other shows, a character like Ranta would be the comic relief, the kind of dickhole character who makes rude remarks and is pervy, kind of like Mineta, right? Except, more competent than Mineta. He's not as bad as Mineta, but they serve the same role in the group of being the character that they're just a piece of shit. And a number of times you see Haruhiro try to understand that relationship with Ranta and try to improve it in some sort of way. And also you see by Ranta's interactions with female members of the group, their uncomfortableness with being around him and how he makes so many weird comments about their bodies or tries to perv on them and clearly doesn't seem to respect them in any way, shape, or form. He is a capable fighter and sometimes gives unique input, but for the most of the time, he is a clear, stupid asshole. And understanding how you have to sometimes work with stupid assholes is really realistic and interesting in how you have to deal with that when you are trusting this person with backing you up with your life, and they are also trusting you, and understanding how that interaction works and seeing not just your side of the story, but also their side. There are so many moments in this show where characters have to stop and say, wait, we need to be empathetic. We need to think of it from their perspective. How are they viewing us? And that is such a refreshing thing to happen in a story like this. God, there are so many things I could say about the characters in this show, because there are some really interesting moments and fun dynamics that they bake into it. But I do want to take this opportunity to also talk about the other things that I really love about Grimgar, and one of those big things is the art direction. Now, the art director for this series is Hidetoshi Kaneko, and they've worked on a number of fantastic anime, from background work on My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service, while also working on other anime that you may be familiar with like Black Lagoon or Terror in Resonance. Now, for My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service, they were specifically a background artist, and the background art in this show is immaculate. It sets the mood just right. Instead of having more standard fantasy anime background styling, they go for something a little more expressionist and watercolory. You see, there's really thick outlines, but the colors don't always stay inside of it. Sometimes they're not even in the outlines. It has these cool, calming tones to it that really brings itself out when you have so many amazing character moments. And also works wonderfully when you're having those action moments, when you have the whole crew in the first episode fighting the goblin. It's really interesting to see that juxtaposition of what's hardcore violence, characters understanding what it is to kill, juxtaposed against a dreamy watercolory background. It is such a fascinating choice, and it adds so much mood and flavor to this show that no other isekai I've seen has really been able to replicate. I've seen shows and movies go for a more dreamy background like this before, but none use it so effectively, in my opinion, or none make it feel like it's an elevation of it. Typically when I see something like this, it's more in like slice of life shows, and it more feels like they're trying to be a little cheap and not have to detail your backgrounds as much. Here, it feels like you're getting true expressionist art, evoking emotions that you would not get from something that was more realistically depicted. And one of the things that's really great about that is in Grimgar, you have the main town that the entire crew lives out of and spends a lot of time shopping and going around and spending time together. You see the different kind of architecture in this series, how it's layered out and built up against these hills, how there's rivers going through it and tall bridges going over it. It's beautiful and really effectively shown in a lot of sequences in the anime where they take moments of a few episodes episodes to have a little bit of a montage along with some nice, calm, relaxing music where they show the characters going around town and living their lives. It makes you understand that this world is not just about fighting. These characters do not just live to kill or live to get the next power up or grow and get stronger like that. They have a life, they have friends, they have so many connections, and it does so much to build up and give weight to each of these characters and their struggles. This is also an A1 Pictures anime who you may know from a wide range of anime like a Sword Art Online, Kaguya-sama, Anohana, or Darling in the Franxx. They have done a large amount of anime. They're pretty prolific in the anime space, one of the big studios out there, and the action animation that they do is very well done, effectively done. But when it gets down to it, when you have to have those action or you have to have those important scenes, they do animate the hell out of their characters, so no complaints overall. I think it's a really competently done production. This is a 2016 anime, and it doesn't sound like it was very popular when it came out. I only really heard about it a couple years ago, and mainly that's because so many people talk about it as one of those anime that's never gonna get a season 2, even though it probably deserves one. From what I hear, a lot of people say that the light novel is pretty good. It had a really good stretch, even past what the anime covered, and that if they did want to do a season 2, there is still enough content to actually make a fun, enjoyable anime. I have not read the light novel, so I'm relying on other people's opinion online, which may be a mistake, but I still would love to have more experiences with these characters and seeing them continue to grow and get stronger. In fact, one of the things I want to bring up that I really do love is that this is an isekai where the characters clearly understand that they're from a different place, but they have no memories of it. And I've seen some people say that that's unnecessary. Why would you do that? And I think that that is so perfect, to have characters who feel out of place immediately thrust into battle, basically. Again, it's never mentioned how these characters got here, and they have no memories of their previous lives or understand why their personalities are the way that they are. They don't have the context of their previous experiences to inform their own emotions and inform their own stories, and the show delves into that. The show uses that, while also leaving plenty of room to speculate on what might be going on for the people in this world of Grimgar. Is there something more nefarious going on here? Is there some way that all these characters are being drawn to this world and being coerced into fighting a war that they have no part in? The world building is actually pretty interesting because they'll touch upon a lot of the things that they're doing, and a lot of the characters are doing basically like missions to clear out goblins from different areas and collect loot off of them, right? Like there's a city that humans had established that was overrun by goblins. Like I get the feeling that the kingdom that they're working for may have been involved in some kind of colonization or some kind of project pushing into the areas of different species, and those different species reacted and took back their land. And the characters in Grimgar, our main characters, have to go in there and do mercenary jobs basically to get the money they need to survive. Not really caring about anything going on here because they have no context for it, they don't understand that. They're just simply trying to live. And the show actually shows that the other monsters are also simply just trying to live. There's two main groups of monsters we see a lot of in this season. The first off is goblins, and for the most part they're just goblins roaming around and not really doing much, they're just patrolling their own areas. This is a very different series than Goblin Slayer. Goblin Slayer made it very clear that these characters, these goblins, are evil. They're going out there, they're capturing women, they're pillaging, they're killing people as cruelly as possible because they're evil. Gah, they're monsters. While in comparison, in the world of Grimgar, the goblins just seem to be like a different side of the coin of the human soldiers. They're just monsters patrolling and protecting their areas that they live in. You can actually see a little bit of this at times where you have like a group of goblins who are all, lounging around just chilling after a patrol, and some of them are playing chess, some of them are sleeping, some of them are just hanging out and talking, like they're just normal. We're not given a reason to hate them. We don't have context for understanding if what they were doing was wrong. They're just the opposite side of this war. They are other soldiers, the same as the soldiers that we follow. Or the kobolds later in the season, wolf men who live in these caves that they've claimed back from humans. One of the levels to these caves is just a bunch of farmland where they clearly have been cultivating and growing their own crops and harvesting their own livestock. They're also just creatures minding their own business and defending their own city from intruders that are coming in, trying to take it from them. I keep getting this feeling like I'm not getting the whole story from the humans that live in Grimgar, the ones that are actually native to Grimgar, about what is actually happening or why our heroes should be fighting for them. They're fighting for them because they need a way to make money and to live in human society, But outside of that, are they fighting for a just cause? We don't really get any context of that outside the fact that they're just fighting. But it does leave enough for you to actually consider if they're doing the right thing. You have characters, Haruhiro explicitly says that he feels guilty for what he's doing. He doesn't feel right about it. And I think that there's more going on there that I want to learn more about, that I think is so fascinating about this world. Grimgar, in a lot of ways, exemplifies all the things that I didn't like about a series like Goblin Slayer. It has meaning to its characters, it has depth and weight to those deaths. It has characters that are going through these situations and you understand why they're doing it. It focuses so much on those characters as opposed to Goblin Slayer, which did not care about its characters really at all, besides them being cookie cutter, just like, I am the priest, I am the Goblin Slayer. Grimgar makes you care about these characters, and even characters you don't like Ranta, you still understand and respect for their own reasons and their own way of living their lives, that they just are who they are, and in some level, in some way, you have to respect that. I love Grimgar so much, and I hope you give it a try, because again, it's only 12 episodes, and while I wish there was more to it, it's fine as 12 episodes. You will get a very satisfying story in those 12 episodes, a very satisfying world, and if you want to go further into it, the light novel exists for you. So thank you very much for listening to me rant about this. I have had a thoroughly fun time rewatching the series, relearning about what I loved about it, and thinking more about just how amazing this world is. If you like this video, be sure to comment. If you have your own thoughts about Grimgar, whether you want to give it a try or if you have seen it and what you thought about it, please leave a comment down below. I would love hearing. And please subscribe for more videos similar to this. I am going to keep making videos because that is the only thing I know how to do with my life anymore. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day, a great night, or whatever it is you're having, and stay rad.